in my 50 years, I've probably done everything in business you can imagine.
Didn't you say what
do you know about business,
Stephen?
I did, yeah. And I have a very good relationship with all the dragon. We know what happens in the den is...
Yeah, because the beef, I was going to ask you, is the beef real?
Yeah.
The mentorship from someone like you is worth more than the money.
Very clever one. Somebody comes in, says, I want to give away 20% for £1. They've got 5 dragons and their attention.
And what elements make a great pitch?
The entrepreneur. I respect anybody who comes to a dragon's den.
Yeah.
And the valuations are stupid.
Yeah.
7% of the population don't work, that they are what they're called disabled and they can't work. 7%.
Well, I don't think they're all disabled.
No, the real problem with the economy. Which
is?
Too much red tape in business. Taxes have gone just beyond. 20% of the population pay 70% of the tax. And I'm afraid that if Labour get in, I think it's not really good for this country.
If you'd like me to have more conversations like this and go deep, make sure you support the channel. Like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on. Touker, this is your first podcast.
It is.
I am flattered. Why have you not done one before?
I don't know. I've been offered lots of podcasts, lots of money, but for some reason I've said no. And it was your direct approach, and I think being very grounded and very, what you see is what you get. I felt comfortable doing this.
Yeah. No offer from Stephen Bartlett to go on his podcast?
Hints.
Yeah.
Hints. But I think Stephen has an amazing podcast. He probably thinks I'm too old now. He started calling me his uncle now.
Didn't you say, what do you know about business, Stephen? Didn't you say that to him?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think when somebody, Stephen's very talented. And when somebody says to someone like me, who's been in business for 50 years,
wow,
on something, and I said, well, what do you know about business? I've been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah.
In my 50 years, I've probably done everything in business you can imagine. Success, failures, you name it, I've been there.
Yeah. 50 years. So let's start with pre and post lockdown.
Yep.
How has business changed for you? And was lockdown one of the weirdest, scariest things you've ever seen in your 50 years?
The lockdown actually reminded me of the 3-day week. So if we
Nigel Farage just talked about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what it reminded me. I remember the 3-day week.
Was that in the 70s?
Yep.
Yeah.
In those days, if you had a car, if all the odd numbers could fill up on a certain day, all the even numbers could fill up a certain day.
Wow.
You could only open the office 3 days a week.
By law?
By law. That was it, 3-day week.
You didn't do any other days on the side or anything?
No. And I think when came, I think it was an awakening to a lot of people. It was a point where businesses that were stuck in their way and weren't flexible had real problems.
Yeah.
It was another way where businesses were very agile and it could change their offer. Did great. And I think that there was this whole conclusion that we were going to be in an online business environment and retail was finished. So what actually happened? People felt that this was the new society. We're going to live at home and work at home, and we're going to buy online, and we're going to exercise more, and we're going to look after ourselves.
Yeah.
So we had a boom in that sector. And what has happened, and you had big booms. You had a boom in online, boom in bicycles.
Peloton.
Home
gyms.
Yep.
Yeah.
A big boom in there. And some of those businesses, especially in the States, had a valuation of $1 billion.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I had to think, with all my businesses, I've got 3 fashion businesses, 26 investments in all sectors. How do we keep the lights on? I probably went to the office nearly every day, where I could, where I was allowed to by law. And I worked where I could in the office.
Was it scary?
Not really. You know, I was and then I was I made a big statement to the press, and they got it all wrong. Because at the time, I said to my team, people in the warehouse that worked for me had no option but to go to the warehouse. People that worked on London Transport had no option. Those policemen had no option. Nurses had no option. And I made a comment saying that working from home wasn't fair for the people that couldn't afford not to work.
Yeah.
You know? And what you had this whole middle society, lawyers, accountants,
HMRC.
All those people.
Most of HMRC are working from home now. Yeah.
And then I got such a backlash.
Did you?
Yeah, saying, "Oh, what do you know? What do I know? And I'm this and I'm that." And I said, "I don't know anything. I just feel for those people that had no option." You know? Yeah. So I gave all my staff an extra bonus by working those periods, and I cared about them. Yeah. You know, their welfare, and that was a period that I felt.
Did you have to use furlough?
Yeah, we used furlough.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've got retail businesses.
Yeah.
You know, and most retailers were in a position where they need CVAs to survive. My biggest retail business is Hawes & Curtis. Yeah. We didn't do a CVA. Right. I went through a period where we reduced stores. I wrote out checks to landlords, got out of stores. Yeah. And luckily, about 40% of all the leases terminated during COVID. Right. So we renegotiated. Yeah. And I must say, landlords have been great. You know, the bigger landlords, you know, the shopping centres, they understood the problem. And they were great, you know, and Hawes & Curtis has survived and is thriving. So if you look at, there was this whole perception of where do we go from here? Yeah, people that felt that they were in the power now. You know, the employee became the powerhouse. Coming out of shortage of labour. Coming out of Brexit. So we saw this rapid rise in the last 12 months of wage rises. But that wage rise, if you really think about it, wage rises were suppressed in the low inflation days. You know, over the last 7-8 years, the wage rises were
it never goes in a straight upward, does it? No.
They were suppressed. Yeah. And in a way, I think wage rises today have only just come to par the way they should be. You know, right. I don't see them rising. I don't see there's a big shift now between employer and employee. 12 months ago, 15 months ago, I think the employee had the upper hand. Yeah. I think the employer now has the upper hand. Right. And I think working from home now, especially most industries, you know, people are coming back, or employers are demanding they come back. You know,
we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have over 100 staff. Yep. No work from home.
Yep. Well, look, I have a lot of staff. It's not in their contracts, but you know, a couple of, if they want the odd day, they ask. We don't really say no. However, you know, people come to me for a job, and I interview them, and they say, well, "I want the job." Yeah.
You still do some interviews?
Yeah. Final interviews. Yep.
Right.
And they say, "Yeah, we want the job," and they go away, accepting the job, and they come back. They want to work 2 days from home. Yeah. And I said to them, when you see me working from home, you can work from home. Right? Yeah. That's what I said.
That'd be never, won't it?
No.
Yeah.
No. So I signed an NDA, but that's fine. I went to see them. You know, as the transaction was as it was. Yeah. They went behind my back. Yeah. And did a deal behind my back. So you can't trust anybody.
Right.
So what we've seen with is a total shift. So today, wind up today, online is down 20%. So,
did you get into online? Did you?
No,
were you
we
tempted?
were online.
Yeah.
But generally, if you look at online, more people are buying from stores. Stores are back.
Right.
Retail is back.
Wow.
People want to go, they want to touch, they want to feel.
Yeah.
The Amazons will still be here, but that's only a convenient product.
Yeah.
If you want something small, no. But if you want to buy clothes, women are going back into stores.
Right.
In Hawes and Curtis, for instance, men are really spending money on clothes.
Yeah.
They want a suit done, they want it measured, they want to buy it online.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we're seeing online growing. It's just across the board. Right? And
Yeah.
I'm talking to quite a few CEOs who are telling me that online. So people are looking for stores. We're growing our portfolio. And because online is so expensive now, so what you've got is all the bits that you have to pay, Google, Facebook, marketing.
Right, yeah.
So expensive.
Yes.
That it's not profitable as it used to be.
Right.
So most people come on Dragon's Den, they say, when I ask, what do you want the money for? They say marketing. I say, yeah. And they think that marketing solves their problem. And if you've got a product that costs less than 40 quid or 50 quid, you might as well put it into retail.
Right.
It costs too much to acquire a customer.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So the whole dynamics has changed. You know, you had during people sign up to subscriptions. In a recession, what do? You look at your bank statement, you say,
Cancel
that goes, that
yeah.
goes, that goes. You know, we had a pitch came in, had a box of food that they would supply, I won't mention the names, they would supply you with a box of fruit and veg, exactly what you're going to cook. And I remember I looked at the box and I said, okay, let's cost it. So I took it all out, bit by bit, laid it all out, and I said, right, if I bought that, £2, and I did it with the entrepreneur, there was an £18 difference. He said the £18 was for the box, the delivery, and their profit. To what you could buy it for in a store.
Right.
But those fantasy businesses are all coming to an end now. You know? So that's the difference. Reality is setting in. Companies that could raise money easily can't. Investors today can get more, you get 5-6% on deposit.
Yes.
Right?
About time.
Yep. And then what you've now got is people want profitability. The old other people's money, invest, I'll burn it for 2 years, I'm going to raise more money. It's finished.
Right.
So that gives you a bit of a vivid overlook of where we're at.
So my business partner said to me, a few years before COVID, he said the biggest threat to our business is the government. And I don't know if he had some kind of sense that something big was coming, but of course he means tax and everything else. What are your thoughts on that statement? Is it harder to run a business now?
Look, if you look at our taxation, we have a big economy that needs funding. NHS,
national debt.
Schooling, national debt is a big one. And actually, 7% of the population don't work.
Wow.
They say that they are what they call disabled and they can't work. 7%.
Well, I don't think they're all disabled.
No,
but
but 7%.
So they got to be funded.
Yep, got to be funded. And in a way, when you look at it, and I don't know the exact percentages, but is it 20% of the population pay 70% of the tax?
Right. Yeah.
Something that I'm not exactly, but that sort of proportion. And I think as the cost of running the economy goes up, taxation is going to come from somewhere. If you're not creating an economy that incentivizes entrepreneurs to invest in the economy, to make profits, to pay the taxes, then I think we're going to end up in a society where there'll be a big drain of wealth out of this country. And in a way, it's happening. I know a lot of people who are now moving to Portugal.
Yeah, Lisbon.
tax incentives there.
Doing 2 days work here a week.
Yep, and going back.
Yeah.
Dubai,
big.
Marbella. So I think what's happening is that families are now in a better position to move. Schooling, education, facilities are much more available, and I think the problem with the UK is the fact that unless they get real, understand the real problem of the economy,
which is,
well, I think it's too much red tape in business. Taxes have gone just beyond, and I think there's a lot of fat. So if you take the NHS, and I love the NHS, I mean, don't get me wrong, and those nurses really work really hard, and they should be paid more. But people there's agencies that supply doctors that get 40% commission they make tens of millions of pounds on the NHS. Yep.
Yeah, wow.
So those people are creaming it off, consultants, all those sort of freeloaders who take money from the NHS, whereas that money should be rediverted into doctors, nurses, people who really work.
Yeah, and why isn't it? Because it's a public sector.
I think we've got too much of a bureaucracy.
Right.
All round.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the civil service. I think 80% of them work from home.
Yeah.
If I run a civil service, I'd have them all queuing up every morning, checking in. Yeah,
I can imagine.
And say to them, I'd fire 50% of them and make that 50% work just as hard.
Yeah.
You cannot be efficient working from home.
No.
You cannot make those decisions. If you're in an office and you can bounce off ideas and take action right away, your efficiency goes up.
Yeah.
And I think the government's too weak. Is it Michael Gove who runs that area, or whoever it is, or those civil servants? Somebody needs to get a civil servant. Oh, no, it's not Mike. It was what was his name? Mogg Rees.
Rees-Mogg.
Yeah. And he said it.
Yeah.
But he wasn't strong enough to get them back.
Yeah.
The government's not strong enough. Unfortunately, Rishi, who I admire, was a very good chancellor, but he doesn't come across as a strong prime minister.
Right. Do you think he has enough interest in business and entrepreneurship?
Look, he doesn't. He's wealthy enough. He hasn't got to do it.
No.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But surely someone in the government must have worked out that if they just keep pounding more tax on starting a business and becoming an entrepreneur, they're either not going to do it, or the ones that are doing well are going to leave.
Look, I think they've got their hands tied. They don't take those bold moves. They don't take the move to say, how do we stimulate the economy?
But isn't that what they want? Isn't economic growth the goal, the panacea?
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. And how do you grow an economy when you're biting the hand that feeds you?
Look, I'm not an economist. All I know is if you incentivize entrepreneurs to go and do business, which they did.
Because it used to be easier. There were less taxes.
What I'm afraid of now is that you've got the Labour government who think they're going to come in and tax everybody. That would be a disaster, in my view.
Yeah.
But in a way, I think the last Prime Minister that really did great for this country.
Liz Truss?
No.
Oh, wow.
The last Prime Minister, if you think about it, who really made this economy great was Tony Blair.
Right. Interesting.
Tony Blair was Labour, but he was New Labour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, since him it's declined. And I think Sir Keir is probably on this crossroads between where do I go?
Yeah.
You've got the left, the unions, and you've got him being mentored by Tony Blair now.
Right.
So we're not sure where it's going to go. But I'm afraid that if Labour get in, I think it's not going to be good for this country, honestly.
Why not?
Because I think they want to tax everybody and everything. And we're overtaxed already.
Yeah. If you'd like to start and scale any business, and you'd like to make, manage and multiply more money for just 22 pence a day, no ongoing contract, cancel anytime, you can immediately access hundreds of hours of courses, resources, and masterclasses on creating multiple streams of recurring income. And if you sign up now, I've got 2 special launch bonuses. Number 1 is the Moneymaker Summit, where I'm going to share the best business models for 2023 and beyond for creating multiple streams of recurring income. And my brand new 8-week Money Mastermind University, teaching you all the things about money you should have learned in school, but the system doesn't want you to know how. It's easy to join. The link is rob.team. Just type in rob.team into any web browser.
You look at the government and you look at our industry. There's a big thing in the papers at the moment about tourist tax. So if tourists buy luxury goods, they can reclaim their VAT, which this government
got rid of.
Stopped it. Those people that make that decision are not on the ground. So if you think about it, tourists are now going to France, to Italy, to wherever.
Yeah.
They're not only spending money in the goods, they're spending money in hotels.
Yeah.
They're buying apartments. They're creating jobs for craftsmen. And what we've done, we've scared everybody away here.
Yeah.
Because we don't want rich people in this country. We don't want wealthy outsiders to come into our economy. So
what makes you say that?
Because London, and I live in central London, and I've been around all this, it's not what it was. You go into those shops, the tourists are not here.
Yeah.
And I can understand, they say, well, why should we reward tourists for VAT? But it stimulates the economy.
Yeah.
It gets those cafes full. It gets the hotels full. It creates restaurants. It creates jobs for those little artisan companies that create the products. And the government don't look at it that way because they're not on the ground. Half the time, they don't know what's going on.
Why would anyone want to be an entrepreneur in today's age then? Because I sit here, I've been an entrepreneur for nearly 20 years, you've been one for 50 years. I still love business. I wouldn't have it any other way. I couldn't work for
anyone. Win.
It's to win.
It's to win. Somebody says to me, but Touker, you don't do it for the money anymore. And I say, well, partly, I've got to feed my staff, but partly the fact that I love to win.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I love to give back. I help a lot of people, advise a lot of people where I can. And business is a form of stimulation. That, unless you want to play golf or you want to be on holiday, that's not me.
No. So it's still a sport. It's still a game for you.
Yeah. And I think for a while, and even now, people ask me, well, would I sell my? Yeah, I probably would start to sell businesses, but it wouldn't stop me doing other businesses.
Yeah.
You know? It's and in a way, I feel now it's time to reflect. So we're talking about inflation for a second.
Yeah.
And there was inflation figures today. But
do you believe them?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. Again, the government are out of touch, and I'll tell you why. Inflation happens in different ways. We all know that. Wage rises being one, the currency, our dollar, what we import, costs. Okay, Ukraine war didn't help for a while. But what is happening, which they don't know about yet, is that the biggest economy in the world, the second biggest economy, China, are going through deflation. So raw material prices are all coming down. Container prices, which last year topped $26,000 a container from China to Felixstowe, is now $1,000. Demand for their goods are coming down in China, so you've got deflation. Now that is going to come back to here. So when we buy goods from China, it'll be cheaper. So slowly, we will see inflation go down. But the politicians or the banker, they're not on the ground.
No.
They look at the overall number, the overall figure. They take 50 items out of supermarkets, what they cost today, what they cost whatever, and that's the inflation rate.
Yeah.
But looking ahead, you can't do anything with the dollar and the pound. You're stuck.
Yeah.
I think wage rises are now going to be stabilised now.
Right.
I think raw material prices are coming down. Commodities are coming down.
Yeah.
I think oil is stabilised, even though Saudi Arabia are trying to cut the production, it's still not doing anything. So we are seeing the demand come down around the world. So we will see inflation drop, in my view.
Yeah.
You know, and that's because I'm looking at it all the way down to where it all happens.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and there may be a 3-month to 6-month time lapse, but the politicians are over here.
Right.
You know, half the politicians are out of touch.
Yeah. And so for people who don't fully grasp if inflation coming down is good or bad, can you explain?
Look, nobody wants inflation because your money depreciates.
Yeah.
You know, nobody really wants high interest rates because families with mortgages, you know, and I'll come back to that in a second. Families with mortgages seeing their wage rises, their interest rates rise, and what we're seeing is the politicians think the interest rate rises will affect the economy. I don't think they will as much. I'll tell you why. We have become, and you're in property, we have become a rental society, which we weren't under Thatcher, under all these. We were the owners of property,
Yes.
you know, compared to the French and the Italians. Our culture today, between, you know, our population between the ages of 18 and 35 are more inclined to rent a property than to own it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Whereas 20 years ago, you were encouraged to own your property in your 20s.
Yeah.
So the interest rate rises won't affect that generation
Right.
in the mortgages.
Yeah.
It will affect real families between 35 and 60. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So the economy, by that is it Z Gen or whatever, is still thriving.
Yeah.
You know, because they're probably living at home. The only difference is their rents are going up. We are seeing rents go
Yes.
up.
Yeah. Although, I mean, we've just put our rents up 25% across the board, but for nearly 5 years, they hardly went up at all.
Yeah.
So it's that non-linear.
Yeah. That's because probably
Well, we're forced to.
if you look at let's say you looked at a property worth £1 million, the interest on that, let's say you're paying 3%, that's 30 grand.
Yeah.
Well, today the interest on that is 50 grand.
Yeah.
See, no, 70 grand.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So you've tripled so you've got to cover your interest at least, and that's why interest rates are going up.
Yeah.
And that's the effect it's having. So I think it's like saying one solution that doesn't fit everybody. You've got different elements, different sectors of the population being affected.
Yeah. So I have a money round. We're going to change it up a bit if you're up for it.
Sure, yeah.
We've got 6 questions on money.
Yep.
What do you think that the subject of money and talking about money openly, do you think that's a taboo thing in the UK?
Yes.
Why?
I think it depends on what context. I wouldn't talk about money. I talk about business and talk about what it does, money in respect of what money represents for that business. I wouldn't talk about my personal wealth of money, or I would, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's my personal business.
Right.
I talk about money all day long regarding businesses,
Yeah.
what they need, what they don't need, cash flows. That's money to me. But on a one-to-one amongst friends, I wouldn't talk about money.
Why? I mean, you are someone who is aspirational in the sense of I can start by earning £5.50 and now I can become a multi-millionaire. That you are the embodiment of that.
Yes, no. Look, I always say, if you don't work hard, you won't succeed.
Yeah.
So money plays a big part. The funny thing about money, it's very strange, is that kids of 12 and upwards are talking more about money, because they realise that the apple they want, the phone, this all costs money. So money has become a new instrument for kids. 10-year-olds go on video games, Roblox,
Yeah.
but they need to pay for it. It's money.
Yeah.
So money's it's like a password now to a lot of people.
Yeah.
To me, money is an instrument that you use effectively.
Yeah.
My lifestyle, anybody that knows me in the last 50 years, has been like this. With money or without money, I've never changed my lifestyle. Nobody would say, "Oh, Touker's flash, Touker's out there on private planes," but that's not me.
No.
I'm very grounded.
Yeah.
And I know the value of money.
Yeah.
I'm probably, it'll be easier for me to give away X amount to somebody I know than spend it on myself. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm more of a person who I give away to friends, family, not to everybody, because I get 10,000 requests, unfortunately, I can't.
No.
But I'm not somebody, I find it easier to spend on other people than myself.
Does your net worth, is that not someone with you who's publicly on the rich list, is that not a driver of the victory of business? It's not.
No,
you don't care.
No, it's a number.
Yeah.
It's all in assets, not paper.
Right. No.
It's whatever. And I don't use my wealth to actually as a power. My wealth is there as a convenience, yes. My wealth is there to make sure that the people around me are looked after, my employees. But it's different. I don't go out and I'm somebody that will take a dividend as far as I need to live, leave it all in the business.
Yeah.
And all my businesses, we don't use bank, it's all cash.
That must have helped through lockdown?
Oh, yes.
Because my business partner and I draw a third each, and we leave the remainder 40% in as working capital. Yeah.
I'm very fortunate that I've got a big property portfolio that brings in income.
Yeah.
As my, never going to sell those.
No.
Over the years.
So you can live off those, and
I could sell everything, keep those.
Yeah.
I live a very nice lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I don't use that. I'm more inclined, and I fund lots of businesses. Some losing money, some making money, finding ways. How do we turn that around? I mean, I've got a business now. So during lockdown, the big thing was cycling. I invested in the cycling business. And I said, why don't we open a cycling shop? So I opened the best cycling shop in London called Bike Soup in Westfield. £1 million shop fit, beautiful. This year, the bike industry is falling off a cliff.
Right.
Nobody wants bikes.
How long would it take you to get $1 million back on a shop fit normally?
So
gone.
So what do I do? So here I am. It's burning $5,000 a week from my pocket.
Yeah.
So I said, well, what do I do to turn this around? So all of a sudden, sat down with the team and said, right, we're going to convert a third of this into the best coffee shop in London.
Yeah.
I've got the premises, the rate's been paid. I've got the premises. I've got a small cafe within it. So we're going to extend the cafe. So I had this morning meetings with 2 bakeries, artisan bakeries. They've got capacity. And I said, look, I don't want to go to 10 people. I want to go to 1. If you want to be my partner, that's what I've got to offer. You can fill it. And that's what I'm doing. So hoping to reduce that loss. So money it's a number.
Yeah.
Hawes and Curtis is flying. It's absolutely flying. So there's different things happening in different parts of the business.
Are you happier when you've got more money flowing though?
Look, I'm happier when nobody asks me for money.
But you get asked for money all the time.
Yeah. Look. I think I feel comfortable when there's lots of money in the bank that will see me through any difficulties.
Yeah. Well, at least you
For
can
my
get
business, yeah.
at least you can get 5% on your money
Yeah.
now. So
So for my businesses, each of my main businesses has got plenty of cash there. No bank debt.
Yeah.
And I feel comfortable that if we're going to grow it or make it out, there's money there. You know, I've got in my other properties, which I'm doing it in co-living now. I've got a co-living project. Interest rates have gone up. I've had to put my hand in my pocket to keep up with the overspend. But it will come right.
Yeah.
It will come right. However, things like the bike business, I will stabilize that. Now I've already got set some. I'm going to lose X amount this year on it. £250,000. It's there in my head, but it won't lose it the following year.
Yeah.
Or hopefully, if we can launch the cafe business in 2 weeks' time, if I can stabilize it much quicker. But I want to have a cafe that when you walk there, you've got a spread of pastries, you've got cakes, you've got bread, you've got everything. You go, wow.
Right.
You know, if you're going to do it properly.
Yeah.
Don't faff around with it.
Yeah. So something that fascinates me for entrepreneurs to think about is debt versus equity. Because obviously Dragon's Den, they're all giving away equity. But maybe they're giving away far more than they have to, giving away equity, and when they could give away a smaller amount of debt.
Yeah, look, I think...
We've done neither, by the way, but...
No, but you're right. But I think in some cases, it's what they want is they feel like a dragon can open doors for them. You know. Do
they do that, though?
Well, I do. I've got a whole team.
Yeah.
That we help our investments open doors. I don't know what other dragons, I'm sure other dragons do the same.
Yeah.
And a lot of the investments I've made on dragons that just float, I either give it back to the entrepreneur or give it back to what paid for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So really it's a hobby, is it?
No, it's the best black book in the country.
Right.
I can ring up anybody.
Yes.
They'll take my call.
Right, you mean being on Dragon's Den? Right, so even if you didn't make any money out of the investments, you've got the best black book in the country.
Probably cost me X amount a year. It's fine.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not looking for, they normally say 1 or 2 will go really big, won't they?
Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
But one of the things I am looking for, which is what is now in the can, will be out in January, is the fact that approaching my age, I always ask, well, when will I get my money back? Somebody said, 7 years' time. I said, 7 years' time? Do you know how old I'm going to be in 7 years' time? So I'm saying a little bit, how do I get out before I get in?
Right, yeah. You want to know your exit
Yeah.
straight up.
It's hard-earned cash,
Yeah.
which I'm very willing to give. My time, my team's time.
Yeah.
How do we get our money back? Forget profit.
Right.
I'm not looking for profit.
No. Yeah, so you just want your capital back that you put in.
And so, but because you can't keep on writing checks all the time. And the checks are personal money, tax-paid money.
Right.
Not company money.
No.
Yeah.
Do you get relief on the losses?
Yep, get relief.
But you're paying...
But the losses, you get relief only if you crystallize them.
Yeah.
Half the time you're sucked in to put more in.
Right, yeah.
But what I'm saying here is the fact that a lot of the entrepreneurs honestly think that you can wave a magic wand and it'll happen. Not like that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, otherwise why would they be on Dragon's Den? Or do you mean they think that you can wave the magic wand because you're a dragon?
Yeah, exactly. And we help where we can. We open doors. And in some of the businesses, we start them off, nurture them and let them go.
Yeah.
Sell the shares back for what we paid.
Yeah.
Let them go.
Because the mentorship, I want to stress this to people, the mentorship from someone like you is worth more than the money,
Look,
I think.
I had somebody, very clever one. Somebody comes in, says, I want to give away 20% for £1. So what have they got? They've got 5 dragons and their attention.
Yes.
Take your pick.
They wanted them. So that is smart. That is.
So what that is Is that so? As a dragon, I would say, well,
I'd pick the one with the most years experience, so you'd be in.
no, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's really clever.
Some of them come in and say, yeah, I want.
They overvalue their company.
Yeah, I want 100 grand for 1%. I don't know that. Okay. And then you look at it and say,
10 million
1%.
business.
I don't get out of bed for 1%.
Yeah.
You know. But what I'm trying to get to, they don't think about, do I really want a dragon? Do I really want the PR, or what do I want?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like Peter and I invested in a business called Generate. It's a data business.
Yeah.
They came in at 60 grand, you know, very low, very good value. But he got people he wanted.
Yeah.
So sometimes, if you're going to pitch in Dragon's Den, decide what you want. Do you want the money? Of course, money's important.
Yeah.
Right? Do you really want a dragon? Because once you've got a dragon, you can get more money out of them afterwards.
Right. Ah, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
If you've got a plan that works, oh, yeah, I'll give you the money. You know?
Yeah.
So.
But surely that must be hard to work out
Yeah.
how much you're going to give away for that.
Yeah, but either ways, we all went in very small with a business called Mood Bears. It was a bear that had different poems on it, and
Yeah.
rhythms. I think we put 5 grand, nothing.
Yeah.
Do you know, she won on Dragon's Den, first week she turned over $250,000.
Wow.
On-
So
on
the
the bear.
instant PR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm helping her, we're helping her. But,
Yeah.
but she went in at a level that she's got her attention,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
The other thing, of course, is as a dragon, what do you invest in? You invest in the entrepreneur.
Right.
You know?
Always?
Always. Now I do.
So you've never been excited by the model enough?
I
and gone-
have,
Yeah.
and I've made mistakes.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's always the person?
No, in the past, in the early years,
Yeah.
I got excited and I realised
Got
that the entrepreneur was not straight or didn't tell the truth,
Yeah.
or there was something dodgy going on,
Yeah.
or, you know, and I'm not interested there.
No. So you're always about the person?
All about the person. I want to know who they are, and they have my mobile. They can call me 24/7, anytime, any
Yeah.
of my investments. Always available.
Yeah.
I have a team of 7 people in the office that run these investments for me, but I'm always available.
Yeah.
I probably do maybe between 5 and 10 appointments on what I call pro bono.
Yeah.
People come to me for advice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
half an hour. They're all very grateful for that advice.
Yeah.
And I always say, come back to me when you've done this.
Yeah.
I had a little kid come to me last week, 17 years old.
Wow.
He's on the crust between uni and going into business.
Yeah. What did you say to him?
Well, he came with this idea. He's already trading on Amazon. He's buying and selling things
Yeah.
on eBay. He's a trader.
Yeah.
He's a real trader. And so I sort of said, then he wanted to create this swimwear range. I said, why a swimwear range? Oh, I've got this. I said, yeah, but swimwear means every 6 months you've got to change it. You've got sizes, you've got colors, it's complicated. I said, find the product that solves a problem that's just one product and market that.
Yeah.
Forget about being involved in complicated products. It could be, you know, this cup, but you've got a new handle for it. It could be anything. It could be a dog toy that you can put a mold, and all you're doing is selling the same product.
Right.
You're marketing the same product.
Yeah.
That's important in business.
Right.
If you've got to keep on changing all the time, it costs money.
Yeah. And do you think people do that too frequently then? They spread themselves too
Yeah,
thin?
but that's why you hear stories of people buy products from China, put it on Amazon, one product, 2 products, and that's successful.
Yeah.
Because they're not changing it all the time.
No. No. Do you think people have a scarcity mindset then? They're worried that if they only have one product, they wouldn't sell enough?
Look, fortunately, when I started business, there was no Amazon, there was no mobile phones, there was no computers, right? So you had to really, but today, to start a business is very easy. If I wanted to, let's say, I want to go into the toothbrush business. I Google Alibaba toothbrushes. You'll get 50 toothbrushes from $1 to $10. You buy what you want, put your brand on it, put it on Amazon. You're in business. Easy. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. But we're not encouraging those people to start in the UK, are we?
No.
This is the
So
problem.
I think what should happen, but you've got the Prince's Trust that encourages.
Yeah.
And what we need is, we need companies all to say, you take BP, they put up 1,000 people for £10,000 each. You've got lawyer for, there should be somebody in charge that big companies pledge X amount for investment in small businesses or entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And that should be a central pool of charity, people like myself that don't get paid, that make sure that money is well invested. To create these small little entrepreneurs, because they're the ones that will create employment and the economy, because the economy starts from the bottom.
Yeah. Yes.
That's how, and we went through a phase about 5 years ago when small businesses were in. People were a lot more angel investors. The government gave some tax breaks. It's still going on, but not as much.
Yeah. Dave Ramsey, he says all debt is dumb. What do you think about that?
All debt is dumb in its timing. So when you talk about debt, it depends why you're borrowing and what your return is. So if I can borrow for 5% and make 30%, that's not dumb. If I'm borrowing and I'm on the edge, and if that risk of a 2 or 3% interest rate rise really affects me, that's dumb. So what we had low interest rates for a long time. So David Ramsey was probably right then. Ask Dave Ramsey the same question today and say, is all debt, does it think the same way now that interest rates have gone up to 5-6% to when he made that comment when they were 2%?
Yeah, because I mean, most of the biggest companies in the world have grown through debt, haven't they?
Yep.
I think Apple still has a couple of hundred billion in debt, is it?
Yeah, but the cash flow.
Yeah.
They've got a proper business.
Yeah.
That's the cash flow.
Yeah.
But then you've got other companies.
But the debt creates the growth that creates the cash flow, doesn't it?
Look. I think if you're borrowing money, you borrow it prudently. Bankers don't just give you money.
No.
You've got to present the business plan to a banker, and I think what we're about to see now is more collapses in big companies. Where Wilco just go?
Yeah, that just happened, didn't it?
Yep. We're going to see.
Why did that happen, do you think?
Well, I think, first of all, the business was misrun. Second of all, I think they never had enough cash in the business. They took too much money out.
Right, yeah.
The owners. And the debt. All of a sudden, if you're working on a low margin business and your interest rate goes up, you're in trouble. It's like this country. You know, I don't know what it costs every day, how many billions of interest rate we pay every day. That's going to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Unless you've got the cash flow business to pay the debt off or the interest rate, you're in trouble. Debt can be, there's two aspects to debt. Debt can be your biggest lifeline to growth, your quickest way to failure.
Amen to that. Can we do a round on selling?
Sure.
Because most great entrepreneurs I know love to sell or see sales as part of being an entrepreneur. So do you see selling that way? Do you like selling? Do you get excited by selling? Do you see yourself as a salesperson?
I would say I've never sold a business yet.
But you sell products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love having a product that they want to buy. It's not a question of selling.
Right.
I'm not a hardcore salesman.
Right.
So my team know, before we do anything, let's look at the market. Who's selling what, at what price, what quality, let's do it better.
Right.
So my retail stores, take Hawes and Curtis, we offer great quality, great design, great value.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of things. You know, selling comes in different formats. I'm not pick up the phone, sell. No.
Right, no.
Yeah.
Because there's a saying that comes to mind, people don't like being sold to, but they love to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, to me, I like to enhance people to buy from me.
Right.
You know, create the product, create the value,
Yeah.
so that they know that what they're getting is value for money.
Yeah. Okay. How does one pitch to millionaires like yourself? I mean, you might not want to tell us this because you might not want more pitches, but...
No, look, pitching is very easy. So forget Dragon's Den. Like if somebody rings me up and says, well, do you want to see so-and-so? And in a way, it depends. I'll repeat that. Unfortunately, time is important for me. I've never had so many requests for people now. People, I mean, if I showed you my social media, 20, can I pitch to you? We've got this business. It's because it's difficult times.
Yeah.
And I think it depends. If I meet somebody and they want to pitch to me, I'm polite. It's like if I go out, somebody wants a selfie, I'm polite. Never rude to anybody.
No.
It's not in my style. Yeah, people can. I mean, I always thought that what I'd like to do is, and I did it about 7, 8 years ago. The Evening Standard sponsored it, a big event where I was there.
Right.
And then people could ask me all sorts of questions.
Yeah.
And I'd probably like the fact that eventually, every Friday, get 5 or 6 banks, put a pool of money together,
Yeah.
and get people come and pitch like Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So it's a good leverage of your time, you
Yeah,
think, because you can do it all in one go.
But I can't be the one writing the checks out for everybody. It's just,
No.
yeah, there's too many.
Yeah.
So somehow, we've got to find a way how government, big companies can say, we're willing to put money in a pot, and we're willing to invest in this sector, retail. You know, and I pitched to Marks and Spencer's recently, to Archie, saying that they should have their own Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
People with food brands, small little brands, they pitch, M&S invests in them. The ones they invest in eventually ends up in their shelves. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I did the same sort of speech to Asda.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so they're not, they haven't got the people to do so.
No.
Although they're all thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I think retailers should be promoting small entrepreneurs
Yeah.
who are creative in their way, that they can invest in, and then take that investment and use it to their advantage in their stores.
And what elements make a great pitch, other than £1 for 20% of the company?
Look, well, first of all, the entrepreneur. The pitch has got to make sense. Some form of, this is where I started, this is where I am, this is where I want to go.
So the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is why I want a dragon.
Yeah.
This is why I want the money. So there's got to be a story.
Right.
Where I've made mistakes is when somebody comes and says, I've got this idea, but I need you to do it. And we end up a year later trying to create the product. I've got one like that at the moment. After 3 years, you know, spent far more than what I was supposed to invest. But the product was a prototype that you couldn't manufacture.
Right.
It's back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, so
Yeah.
we've done those. So I think the important thing is get your numbers right, have your story,
Yeah.
decide which dragon you believe is going to take you to where you want to go. You know, it's, I mean, when no secret, when Stephen first came on, everybody thought they wanted marketing.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's not all about marketing,
No.
because those days of being online are no longer where the market is.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, this time around,
So
everyone
why
wants
would
to
they
be in
want
stores.
Why would they want Stephen if they don't need marketing?
But that's what they wanted then.
Yeah.
It's changing.
Yeah.
It's changing. They all thought Stephen could wave a magic wand and make it happen.
Yeah.
Not like that at all. You're going to need a lot of money. Doesn't happen for nothing.
No.
You know?
Yeah. So even these people who go on Dragon's Den, because I often think they've put themselves in that position. You know, they're not completely lazy, are they? They're not completely delusional. They've got on the show. They've gone through a process. There must have been some qualifications. So, and yet even those people are unrealistic.
Yeah, look, I think we're talking about a TV show. So I think the BBC wants to give that mixture.
Right.
You know, the ones that really need help.
Yeah.
They've got, and I must say, they've done a brilliant job in bringing on the variety of pitches.
Yeah.
When I first went on, it was all snacks and food.
Right.
8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, the variety of business is amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people that come on Dragons don't really visualize. I mean, they say, yeah, I want 50 grand, but I want to grow the business to 4 million next year. Well, how are you going to fund it? You know?
Yeah.
They don't think it through.
No, but then if they didn't need you, they wouldn't need you. They'd go and do it themselves, wouldn't they?
Yeah. But look, I respect anybody who comes on Dragons Den. And some are, the valuations are stupid.
Yeah.
It's only the only place that I know you're doing a 50 grand turnover, but you value at 7 million. You know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we can change those valuations, but it's how much, you see, when you get to my stage in my life, I say, how much time do I want to invest in it?
Yeah.
You know? And I'm more, and I will invest my time.
Yeah.
You know, my diary is full.
Yeah.
Hour by hour, on the hour, you know, it's full. But in some cases, you just think it's a waste of time.
Right.
You know, and the next round for me is, you know, first thing I said to myself, you know, I'm 70. Yeah, if the BBC retire me, I'm ready. You know.
Yeah.
But at the
How long
moment,
have you been doing Dragons then?
8-9 years now.
Right.
So now they've given me a date for next year.
Yeah.
Which means they don't want to retire me.
Yeah.
You know.
So you just keep doing it until they retire you?
Yeah, and look, until I get to a point where I say, until I say to them, look, it's time for me to pass the baton on to somebody else. You know?
Yeah.
And I have a very good relationship with all the Dragon. We know what happens in the den is...
Yeah, because the beef, is it? I was going to ask you, is the beef real with Peter and...
Yeah, look, sometimes, look, I'm probably, I take no, you know, I'm the one that they regard as the Joker. I'm the one that's not predictable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, Deborah's very predictable, Sarah's very predictable, Peter's mellowed in the last few years.
Yeah.
He's very, you know, Stephen's new.
Yeah.
But I'm the one that's probably, I'm not saying it, but I'd say I've got more business, real day-to-day business experience than most of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They're all very good in their own world.
Yeah.
Peter's great in tech.
Yeah.
Stephen's great in his marketing. Deborah's great in her sustainability. Sarah's great in her craft business, you know?
Yeah.
But I probably, when I look at my career, at the age of 28, I was chairman of 2 public companies.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a failure because of them, not me, but what I inherited.
Yeah.
So I've lost everything at a young age in the late 70s, early 80s.
Do you think that's made you a better
Oh
entrepreneur?
yeah. Because you look, due diligence. So a couple of instances. I'll give you 2 reverse ones. So one, got involved in the public company world in the old Polypec days, Turkish Cypriot. So I got involved in a company called Mellins. Shares went from 4p to £4 overnight. Then the stockbrokers convinced me to invest in a company called Bamba Stores. And the net assets were 16 million. I took a 30% stake. And he needed more money. So in those days, we appointed Coopers and Lybrand, PwC today, to do a review.
Yeah.
They did the review, and the review showed that there were 20 million in the red. The whole thing was fraudulent.
Wow.
Public company.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. You couldn't. In those days, you couldn't sue anybody. Today you take them to the cleaners.
Yeah.
And because of that, there was whatever happened. I lost everything. Bounced back very quickly. And in a way, what it taught me, that I didn't do my due diligence properly at the very beginning.
Yeah.
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 I was rushed into it by the stockbrokers because their friends were involved in the stock. It was all in those days. It was very manipulated.
Right.
You can't do it today.
Yeah.
And there was I at the age of 28, 29, chairman of 2 public companies, unique in its day.
Wow.
And you think at a young age, because you're successful, you can walk on water. And that probably happens to a lot of young entrepreneurs who are successful today. They think it's there forever.
Right.
It's not.
No.
Times change, things change.
Yeah.
You make a wrong move. You invest in something wrong. You never know what's going to happen. Never know.
No.
And I think I learned my lesson at a very young age, and it gave me that sort of padding in my resilient self.
Yeah.
And it taught me that cash is king.
Right.
Always.
Is cash flow not king?
Same thing.
Okay.
Same thing. Cash flow, cash.
Yeah.
Whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So I think that, and then of course, recently when I look at people, I call it OPM, other people's money.
Yeah.
When they're raising all this money, they're burning the money, and they've got no realism about how that money came about. They're taking the investment and just burning it, thinking I'm going to get to it there. But those days are over.
Right. What? Because there'd be more accountability with that money now.
People want profit.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I mean, you look at the Silicon Valley; they're not investing like they were.
No.
Look at tech company laying off people.
Why were they investing like that? Surely it's smart to want profit.
I'll tell you why. Because people invested in Apple, Google,
right,
Facebook.
Yeah.
And they made a fortune.
Right.
And they thought
that was the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have this quandary, Touker. I've never gone bust. I've never lost a business. But I wonder if I might be a better entrepreneur if I did. But I don't want to. Why would I want to? I'd never choose to.
Look, if you don't take the risks, why take the risks?
Yeah.
The question is, you must have a winning formula.
We survived a bit and grew through
so
that.
therefore, you either say, I'm happy where I am.
Never happy where you are.
Right, but then you've got to look at it and say, if I leverage my business, what's the risk? Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're in property, if you've got cash today and you're in property, you make your profit when you buy. So you look for a distressed deal. You say, right, I'm going to buy it now, but what I invest, I can afford to keep it there. It won't affect my main business.
Right, yeah.
But if you're going to do that deal by putting your main business at risk, I say don't do it.
No. So you don't believe in going all in like some of the Americans do, you know, go all in, go big or go home.
No, because look, when I failed, I wasn't married, I had no kids, you know, and it didn't worry me. You're married with children, I assume.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're your priority.
Yeah.
You know?
So maybe that's made me a bit softer and less aggressive.
No, but I think if you say to yourself, in every industry there's opportunities. Prepare yourself for the opportunities. Do your due diligence.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And make sure that you know how to get out before you get in.
Right.
And don't take on more than you can chew in your time or in debt.
Yeah.
Does that answer?
I'm just loving this. So
yeah.
What does it take to be successful in business nowadays? Has it changed? Do you have to be ruthless?
Can I tell you? It's a sort of question that you punch it with AI and it'll give you a whole. What does it take? Look, me personally, I think, first of all, you got to have that feeling that you want to succeed. This is me. I remember when I was young, I wanted to succeed, and then you've got to say, well, what do I do? So you then got to find out, what do I do that nobody's doing? It could be something that still exists, but I do it better.
Yeah.
It could be a great idea, and I'm going to focus on it until it's successful. But also, I need to understand that if it's not successful, when to give up, start something else.
And how do you know?
Inner.
Right.
Success is inside.
Where does it come from, though? Because not everyone's got it.
No, but I think success is look.
Did it come from your dad?
You know, after you've been to the gym, you feel good.
Yeah.
and everyone has that feeling of,
Yeah.
I feel good today, I feel healthy. It's that sort of feeling.
Right.
I want to be good, I want to do something.
Yeah.
It's within yourself. Nobody's going to make you do it.
No.
It's like saying, it's like my daughter, she's 25 now, and she's a stylist. She says to me, I'm doing this, I said, fine. And then I can track her on her phone, on her WhatsApp. She was up 7 o'clock this morning because she's going to do this job.
Yeah.
Proud of that.
Yeah.
Because she wants to do it.
Yeah.
She doesn't get paid a lot,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Her dad pays, but because she has a passion. But I think in due course she'll be successful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because she has that passion. That's what I want to do. That's what makes me want to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to wake up in the morning have a purpose.
Yeah.
You've got to have a purpose, a passion.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And for you, where did that come from?
Well, it probably came from my parents. They were in the restaurant business,
Yeah.
young age, and I'll tell you, at a young age, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I went into accountancy. I didn't like it, and probably it was just me swaying away. It's like this kid that came to see me last week. Do I go to uni, or do I carry on in business? I told him, don't go to uni,
Yeah.
because your passion is in trading. You want to
Yes.
make, you know.
He'll just get built up
Yeah,
better at uni,
yeah,
won't he?
yeah.
Just take his time away from the business.
What I think is a crime is that so many graduates graduate, can't get a job.
Yeah.
They end up with 25 grand,
Yeah.
20 grand a year jobs.
Getting in 50 grand plus of debt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. But I blame the government for that.
Yeah.
I blame that children today are not being educated about the real world.
Mm.
Who wants to learn Latin? Latin is a subject. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
You know, it's only now that kids are learning about computers.
Yeah.
A bit late,
Yeah.
you know. So I think our whole education system needs to have a bit of a reshuffle. Say to kids at 12, who wants to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Right, you're going to go to that school. That's an entrepreneurial school.
Why is that not happening? Is that not common sense to start an economy from the ground up?
Do you know that, and again, I don't know the percentages, but there's a large proportion of our audience in Dragon's Den are kids between 12 and 15.
Wow.
All want to know about business.
Wow.
Let's nurture.
That's great.
Let's nurture
Yeah.
those kids.
Yeah.
You ask any kids, 12, do you know, you all know
They
Dragon's
should be
Den?
getting it from school though, shouldn't they?
But they're doing Dragon's Den at school.
Are they?
They are in
Right.
some school,
Yeah.
but it's not the same.
No.
It's not in their, you know, this education system that we've got it's not about real life. You know, it's not about, if somebody wants to be a cabinet maker, let them start cabinet maker at an early stage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. People don't say this much, but a great way to get into entrepreneurship is to go and find an entrepreneur and go and work for them.
Yeah. Start from scratch.
Yeah.
Start
At
from the
18
bottom.
years old, Terry Leahy, how he did it through Tesco.
Yep.
You know, start and go and work from an entrepreneurial firm. Maybe they're doing 20 million or 50 million, so you can get a bit of an audience with the owner.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah. So I've got some good kids for working for me, and
Yeah.
they're going to grow up.
Yeah. Because you're incentivized for that because you want the new talent to come through. Yeah, because I mean, I suppose if you, like you said, you want to be a cabinet maker or a watchmaker, you'd probably go and work for the best first.
Well, exactly. Well, I think somehow, when they get to 13, kids should be sat down and said, right,
Left or right.
do you know where do you want to go?
Yeah.
You know, and then I think the education system should be that you've got colleges or whatever it may be, education-wise, to specialise in those areas. You want to be an astronaut? Start at a young age. You want to be a craftsman? Start at a younger age. You want to be a banker? You know, so the whole thing becomes, and this probably happens in what I call more radical countries. Probably, I don't know, other countries, they start them young.
Yeah.
But the first thing you'd be surprised when you get them all in a room, 12, 30, who wants to be entrepreneur? They'll go like this.
Wow. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
and then I did something for the Princess Trust a few years ago. It was 50 kids, first day at Princess Trust. So I was there to sort of mentor them, have a chat.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I've got time. Let's go around the room, one by one. Tell me why you're here. Tell me what inspires you to be here, and what are you looking for. And the room quite easily split up between creative people and entrepreneurs and salesmen. So I said, okay, you're artistic, you can create product, you're a salesman, you two should work together. So I paired them up.
Right.
And I said, right, you've all got 10 minutes now, all paired up now, to come to me and pitch to me. Amazing.
Yeah.
First time they met, within 10 minutes.
They're pitching to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Took 2 or 3 hours, but that created a whole momentum of people's. I mean, some of these kids, and I spoke to some of them. They walked for 2 hours. They couldn't afford the bus fare.
Wow. Yeah.
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 They couldn't afford the fare to arrive there. So I said, "Where did you live?" I live in Southwark, and we were in Hackney somewhere. He said, "How did you get it?" I walked here because I said, "Why did you?" Well, I didn't have enough money for the fare.
Wow. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They're the kids that want to succeed.
Yeah.
They're the kids that we must help.
Right.
Yeah.
Amen. Do you have to be ruthless to be a successful entrepreneur?
Yes and no. You know, I think that I've seen entrepreneurs who are ruthless, and it's all their ego.
Right.
You know? I've seen, and I was probably more ruthless when I was much younger.
And more ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm not as ruthless. I'm more compassionate.
Yeah.
When I think about the person, the families, much more compassionate today.
Yeah.
Because I understand families.
Yeah. Does that lose you an edge, or are you glad that
No,
that's the case?
no. I very rarely fire somebody. We do fire people, very rarely. But before I do, I always think about their circumstances,
Yeah.
their chances of getting another job.
Right.
Unless they do something really bad. Of
course.
So, you know,
Yeah.
But I carry people, and in some cases probably people who are not qualified enough to stay there. But I do that, and then I try and work with them to try and make them better at it.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, I would say, look, you don't fit here. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
However, look for another job. Whether it's 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, let me know when you found one.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to put somebody in the street, you know, or somebody who's got a family, a mortgage, kids. No, I'm too compassionate for that. I've got a heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you excited about Gary Neville being a guest dragon next year?
Yeah, well, Gary and I did an investment together.
Right.
He was up in London last week. We spent half a day together.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable.
Yeah, he's speaking at one of our events next year.
Very down to earth. You know,
Yeah.
very grounded.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I
Yeah.
like Gary.
Yeah.
You know, I think he came on Dragon's Den. It's in the can now.
Right.
And
Meaning it's in production.
No, it's done.
Oh, it's done.
Done.
Right.
And we did a joint investment together,
Yeah.
Gary and I. So I like Gary.
Yeah.
And Emma Gerd came on as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Emma is, her husband is in partnership with the Kardashians with Skims,
Wow.
just valued at $4 billion.
Wow.
Nice lady.
Yeah.
And I think that gave the Den a little bit of a change.
Yeah.
Den always needs a change.
Yeah. So who would make a good guest dragon that hasn't been? One person who would make a great guest dragon, do you think? Andrew Tate?
I don't think so.
He would spice things up. Jordan Peterson?
Do you know, I don't know. I really, who would make a good guest dragon? I tell you who I admired a lot in Richard Branson. Richard, I know personally.
Yeah.
Good guy, Richard.
Yeah.
Who would make a good guest dragon? Jeremy Hunt,
Wow.
Chancellor.
Yeah. Yes. What a call. Yes.
And I'll tell you why. Because by him sitting there, he would see reality. And I think...
surely we have to make that happen. Do you think that...
You can contact his office and say, Touker said you should be a guest dragon.
All right. Let's do it.
Yep.
We're going to do it.
And I'm willing to brief him on it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
I mean, what a great advert for the country that would be, no?
yes.
Yeah.
What they should be doing is, from that, Jeremy should then say, I'm going to allocate X million pounds to invest in small businesses, and I want to create my own dragon team.
Yeah.
In conjunction with the big four banks, in conjunction with the big four accountancy firms, to make this happen for charity.
This has got me excited.
You know,
This needs to happen.
for charity.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? I'm not. What I'm saying is, this is all about giving.
Yeah.
You've got to give back.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the big four banks, they do. I'm not saying they don't.
Yeah.
Big four accountancy firms, the insurance companies, the energy companies, they should all, the big companies, anybody over worth X billion should contribute. And then what should happen is that they should be a government, not government.
It would be such a good advert for this country.
Yeah, you know. So I'm not saying use the dragons as we are dragons,
No.
but you can find
Yeah.
equivalent people in the world.
Surely their PR team would be up for this, wouldn't
Yeah.
they?
No, but they
Yeah.
spend so much money on marketing, on
Yeah.
pardon my language, bullshit.
Yeah.
These companies.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, talk about marketing. So I've been with, so even ups and downs. I've been with the same bank for nearly 50 years.
Wow.
Same bank.
Yeah.
And of course, managers have come and gone. Nobody knows how long I've been there. So I was at a dinner 6 months ago, regional director, whatever, and invited me to a dinner. So I said to her, do you know how long I've been with the bank? She says, no, probably know you've been there a while. I said, how would this be? I said, I won't say who it is. So you got an advert with a horse, I said.
Yeah.
I said, what would you pay me if I sat on the horse for the 50th anniversary and said, I've been with the bank for 50 years. What's that worth to the bank?
Yeah.
They
Is
didn't
that going to
take it-
happen?
They didn't take it on. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not mentioning their names. You probably know who they are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, you're more the marketing guy than Stephen Bartlett. You've got all these great marketing ideas.
Can I tell you, I think out of all the dragons, I'm the least what I call socially minded. Social
Right.
media. I do my little social media,
Yeah.
my little bit. You know, yeah. I'm not obsessed with it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, because Stephen's great at that, isn't he?
Yeah, Stephen's great. I mean, Sarah's great.
Yeah.
She's on 24/7.
Right, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Deborah's on Twitter.
Yeah.
And Peter does his bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
You're
so-
good on WhatsApp. I would like to say officially to everyone that you're very responsive on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You know, you said you're accessible.
Yeah.
You are.
I'm
yeah.
accessible.
Yeah.
You know, I'm. But I think coming back to all this is, I've done it a long time, and then probably I can sit on the bench or whatever on the shelf and look around and say, what else have I got to prove? Anything I can prove now is to give back,
Yeah.
help people where I can, and probably in the next year or so, as I start to look at certain businesses which probably be sold off, give myself more time, and I will offer my services to young entrepreneurs
Yeah.
on a pro bono basis.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I get offered all sorts of things. Will you do this for $5,000, 20 grand? I said, I do it. Would I go to Saudi Arabia?
Well, why don't you have it all go to a foundation?
Maybe, yeah. So I was just offered. Would I go to?
I'd pay you for some mentoring.
Would I go? Would I go to Saudi Arabia for an event? Pay me 100 grand? I said no, thank you. You know, but I haven't got an agent.
Yeah.
You know, all the other dragons have got. I've got no agent. I don't charge for anything.
No.
But it's not in my nature.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But maybe I should start a foundation.
Yeah.
And put that money to good use to other
Yeah.
people. I mean, I would like to have every Friday, let's say, an event where I could mentor deprived kids who want to be entrepreneurs. You know, talk to the Princess Trust, do something with them.
Yeah.
Talk to big institutions who are interested in that.
Yeah.
Get the government involved. You know,
Yeah.
because they've got so many things going on. The government, they throw so much money away.
Yeah.
They don't direct it in the right way.
Yeah.
And we talk about black kids being deprived. those black kids are so talented. They all want to do something. You know, I'm not saying black or Asian, whatever.
And a lot of young white kids.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what race you're at. You know, get those kids off the street, get them involved in something. You know, because they want to win.
Yeah. Yeah. We run an events company, so maybe we could talk about this afterwards.
Yeah, why not? Why not? You know, but what I'm trying to get to is that there's a lot you can do, and of course, time. You've got to make time.
Yeah. But you would do like half a day, a couple of Fridays a week, a month or something.
Yeah.
If you were Prime Minister, what would you change about this country?
I'd make every individual responsible for themselves and ask themselves, what is it about me that's going to improve my own personal life? How do I get away from being reliant on the government? And then what I would do as Prime Minister, I would then, you know, look at the different parts of the country and say, who needs my real help? Is it the North? Is it certain sectors? Is it certain parts of the population? I mean, our ethnic group is growing massively. You know, are they integrating properly? You know, immigration is a problem. You know, how do we make immigration easier for the right people? You know?
Yeah.
Do we become tough on immigration? I think in some cases yes, some cases no. I mean, you don't want to be having, you know, gangsters and villains in the country, but you want talented doctors, nurses. You know, there's a way around this. I would definitely cut the civil service. I would cut all of the red tape. I would invest in the right areas and take out. I'd look at the NHS and say, you know, where is the fat in there? The NHS is fantastic. I love the NHS, but I believe there's a lot of fat there somewhere. What they call them quangos, loads of people on the outer skirt. Not the nurses, not the doctors, not the people who actually do the work, but there's the people surrounding the NHS. I mean, this thing about PPE, you know, all this PPE stuff, it's a disgrace. How can you give companies £200 million contracts when they haven't done anything?
Yeah.
I mean, a joke. I applied, so you know, to the government office and said, I'll do it for free.
Wow.
And then they came back to me.
Wow.
At cost.
Yeah. Wow.
So, just so you know, I said, we've got the facilities to source, all at cost, no profit. But I guess we weren't good enough.
That's a shocker.
Well, just say
that is a shocker.
Yeah. So
because I know who and what you're referring to, and I'll keep my mouth shut on that. But it's a shocker.
Well, there's loads of companies like this.
Right. Yeah. There's one high-profile one, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, I think unfortunately, yeah, that is. But if that amount was 5 million, acceptable.
Yeah.
But 200 million.
I mean, the wastage. The wastage.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake you perceive you've ever made?
It's never a mistake. It's a lesson.
That's what smart people say, but there still must be something that you could change and do differently. What would you do differently? What would you not do again? What would you not repeat?
You know, Rob, I've had a great life. You know, and I've learned from my mistakes. You know, all along.
Yeah.
And then I have because I have no regrets. I don't really want to revisit mistakes.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
mistakes for me is a lesson.
Yeah.
You learn by your lessons.
Yeah.
And the problem is, I make mistakes every day. We all make mistakes every day, a little bit. We tweak them.
Okay, then. Let's tweak the question. Biggest mistake entrepreneurs on Dragon's Den make?
I think they get their numbers wrong.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
They don't describe their business, where they are, why they want the money and where they're going.
Right.
You know?
So it's clarity of communication and
Yes.
knowing your business,
Yes.
basically.
Yes. And sometimes you've got to be very clever on what you ask for if you really want a dragon.
Right. Because you can under or over pitch yourself. You
Well,
mean?
I think sometimes you sort of get a dragon in,
Yeah. I love this.
you know, and then you say, "This is my plan.
Yeah.
I need money for this."
Right. And is anyone who's done that effectively to you?
Oh
Like-
yeah, it's one or two.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's. Let's get once you're aired, you got a product. Your product will fly for a few weeks. You know that.
Yeah.
You need to get the continuation after
Right.
that. And I look. Every time we film, we see about 90 pitches.
Wow.
Each pitch goes on for
Wow.
about an hour, hour and a half. We said edit it down to 15 minutes.
Right. Do you sometimes wish people could see the full? Or would it not make for good TV?
Yeah, it make good TV, but some of it just goes on and on.
Right.
Some of it you sort of say, I'm out, and then Deborah's going on for another hour. You know, God bless her. You know, I love Deborah, but Deborah is very thorough.
Yeah.
You know, she'll look at something and say, well, she said, I can't invest in that because there's a bit of plastic in that. I can't invest.
Right,
But
yeah.
that's Deborah.
Yeah.
She's very thorough.
Yeah.
You know, she wants to go into the finest detail. But then, when it's edited,
You don't get all that.
No.
Yeah. Right. What's your most brutal life lesson?
my brutal life
Your
lesson.
most brutal life lesson.
I think when it comes to business, definitely not doing my due diligence
Right.
in a business.
Yeah.
And getting it all wrong. Happened to me at a young age. My luckiest thing was when an incident happened. I own a brand called Ghost, one of our brands. We bought that for the administration. And within there, Ghost used to license the perfume brand to Procter & Gamble. I signed an NDA, but that's fine. So before I did the deal with administrator, I went to Switzerland and asked Procter & Gamble whether they would continue with the license. He said, sure we will. This was the day before I signed. 4 o'clock that day before I signed, get a phone call from the administrator, we've sold the perfume bit to somebody else. It transpires they sold it to Procter & Gamble. That's a big company, went behind my back.
Wow. Yeah.
However, 3 months later...
But you didn't sign you obviously didn't sign it then.
No, I bought the fashion business.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
buy it.
No.
3 months later, they ring me up and say, "Oh, there's been an error. The administrator didn't transfer perfume to you in the contract." I owned it,
Yeah. Right.
and we started this banter. So they said, "Oh, we'll give you 10 grand to cover your legal costs. We want it back." And I said, "Really?" Then they came back 50 grand and 100 grand.
Yeah.
Then they called for a meeting, said, "Look, we really want this to happen. We'll give you 300 grand. So I said to them jokingly, I said, 300 grand? I said, you don't owe me. I said, I do that on a weekend in Monte Carlo, one spin. Yeah?
Yeah.
Anyway, they were frustrated. So I got a call from Cincinnati, which is the head office.
Yeah.
Some American guy said, "Oh, we really want to do this deal with you, whatever. Can we meet in Switzerland?" I said, "Sure."
Yeah.
So I picked the most expensive hotel, and we're gonna have dinner. So I get there half an hour before. So I order a £1,000 bottle of wine, just to set the mood, right? So,
Just to set the mood.
yeah. Anyway, so the wine is sitting there. The guy arrives, American, you know, and he says, "Touker, you know, we're talking pleasantly," and he looks at the wine. He says, "Taste it." I said, "I'll show you the menu." I said, jokingly. I said, "All right, so you don't have to pay for it." I said, "Your expense account doesn't cover it." So he said, "Touker, we really want to do this deal." And I said, "Look, very simply, he offered me 400 or 500, whatever." I said, "Forget it." I tell you what I'm going to do. I said, "It's now, we've had the wine, I've paid the bill. So I'm going to have breakfast at 8 o'clock. I'll be gone by 8:30. Unless there's 2 million on the table, we haven't got a deal." So, "Oh, I can't do that. And I said, okay, good night. 7:45, I'm there. He's there. So we end up. He pays me £2 million.
He paid you £2 million.
Yeah. Then I found out that they were selling the business to somebody else. They had, if I knew that, I would have gone for more.
Right. Yeah.
So they paid me. But what I'm saying is, that's a situation where, in true honesty, I went to see them. As the transaction was as it was.
Yeah.
They went behind my back.
Yeah.
And did a deal behind my back. Big company.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
you can't trust anybody.
Right. But it all ended well in the end.
I'm sure I signed an NDA. I can't disclose that, but it's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, they're the sort of things that I remember.
Yeah.
I had pleasure playing poker, but it wasn't poker.
No.
Yeah?
No. I mean, that's got to be was that one of the greatest deals you've done?
Not the greatest deals, but it was one of the fulfilling deals.
Yeah.
When you get screwed, and you say they've screwed me.
Yeah.
Like David and Goliath.
Yeah.
They really had me. And then 3 months later, it comes back and think, wow, and then they start playing pennies with you.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you A, most excited about, and B, most scared of for the future? One of each.
All right. Well, I'm probably the most excited is I want to live. After having a health scare 4 years ago.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, I woke up one morning, all my body swelled up everywhere. Very fatigued. Luckily, I've got the best doctor in the world, Dr. Ubanan. He's the medical director at the Wellington, who runs the physician's clinic. Brilliant man. Saw me straight into hospital. Luckily, I'm fortunate that I had insurance. I had heart doctor, liver doctor, lung doctor, they're all there. Give me 24 hours to live.
Wow.
And they saved my life. And that probably was a turning point in my life.
Mm.
Even today, I'm suffering from my body's not creating cortisone, so I'm on steroids, hence the fact I put on weight.
Right.
Can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
So that was a turning point. Today, my turning point is to have longevity in my life. So every day that I live is a bonus.
Mm.
That's very important, turning point. So what was the second question?
What are you most scared of? So you're most excited to live?
Okay, you know what I'm scared of? I'm scared of, as a civilization, something happens to us and my children. Who, I've lived a full life, but you look, it was just a warning for us. We don't really know, what could happen. Supposedly it could happen because something happened in a lab. We don't know. Somebody brings something back from another planet. The Chinese develop. We don't know. We're only on Earth as what's the word? As guests.
Yeah.
And hopefully, our ancestors, our kids, will stay a bit longer. And that's probably what frightens me. I think actually created this in the back of my mind. If this could happen today, what could happen in the future? That's what scares me.
This show is called Disruptors. What does the word disruptive mean to you?
Disruptive for me is when you disrupt an existing situation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to an industry who are mainly the big conglomerates got it nice and easy. Somebody comes along and disrupts what they do. That's disruptive.
Yeah. And do you like that concept
Yes.
as an entrepreneur?
I think it's great.
Yeah.
And that's where I think there's opportunities.
Yeah.
You take any product, disrupt it, make it better,
Yeah.
redesign it, make it modern. Because those big companies don't deserve to sit on their laurels.
No. And where are you most active on social media? Where could we?
Probably Instagram.
Yeah.
I like to put 1 or 2 posts a week.
And what do you know what your username handle is so people can go there? Is it just your name?
Touker Suleyman,
Yeah.
yeah. And I sort of very selective now what I put on.
Yeah.
you probably see my Instagram.
Yeah, I don't follow
I'm
you,
not,
yeah.
I don't put out loads and loads of things.
No.
I'm not every day.
No.
Some of the other dragons are on 5 times a day. That's not me.
No.
I've come to an age where, although social media is important, I don't want to use it as a financial gain in the future.
Right. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And how's your experience been being on your very first podcast?
Just be myself. It's the way I would normally be.
Yeah.
It's young Will with me today said, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "Just be myself. I'm not on stage."
No.
And sometimes we all need to reflect, and this is a form of reflection for me, because you sit here, there's nothing apart from yourself to sort of interrogate. And I
Do you feel interrogated?
No, not at all. But what it's done is, once again, it's reflected me all the way back to my early days, to my other days, to my illness, to dragons, to my.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting that it's a form of relaxation. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a form of self-search.
Yeah. Well, we've been 100 minutes.
Is that normal?
It is for our show. Yeah. Do you feel like you could do a bit more?
Yeah.
It's
No, but
rhetorical.
But as I said, it's very much. This is the first podcast that I've done, and
well, thank you for picking us.
I just want to, because I just felt that I could be comfortable here.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be back in school with you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And of course, you could have asked lots of difficult questions, and I was so go where you came from, but I am very capable of putting up with anything.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why I never make a speech. It's always from the heart.
Yeah.
Never read a speech.
No.
Never. If I'm going to make a speech, I'll just say it. And that's why today's been an expression of who I really am.
Yeah.
And some of the things that I'd like to do in the future.
Yeah. Is there anything coming up you want to talk about, or anything we haven't covered?
Not really. No. I think a lot of it is dealing with coming out of the holiday season. I'm not a good holiday person.
Nor am I. I always point at Harry with that one. Yeah.
I hate holidays.
Yeah.
But I think I think for us it's just looking at all the businesses and making.
Why do you hate holidays? Get bored.
Always have done.
Yeah.
So first of all, I hate sand. I hate sand.
Yeah.
I don't mind 4 or 5 days and I'm done.
Yeah.
I think probably when my kids were a lot younger, I had to go on holiday.
Yeah.
When you're a father, you got to be. But now my kids don't want to go on holiday with me.
Right.
They're in their 20s and they have their own holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think now also I love going to the office.
Yeah.
People say to me, "Do you go to the office every day?" I said, "Why shouldn't I?" Every day.
Yeah.
I don't. Even when I'm dying, I go to the office.
Yeah. How did they save you when you had 24 hours to live?
The best doctors in the country, unfortunately.
Wow.
So Dr. Bainan happens to be the medical director at the Wellington in London. And of course he has access to the best doctors. And I was very fortunate that they gave me the best. A lot of people are not so fortunate.
Yeah.
And I do admit that I was fortunate.
Yeah.
And that to me is something that I'll never forget.
No. Yeah. Well, I am very grateful that this is the first podcast you've ever done, and we've got the scoop.
Yeah, you have got the scoop. Actually.
Normally Bartlett gets some of our scoops.
Well, look. I think he's got lots. Stephen, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll probably look at this with envy and say, "Why can't I get Touker on there?" But I think that I think I'd give Stephen a miss. Doesn't need me. He's got loads of good CEOs going on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd rather boost you.
Thank you. We'll take everything we can get. Thank you, Touker.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All the best.
Let me know what you think in the comments. The bigger we can grow this show for you, the bigger and better guests we can get. So make sure you do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And remember this, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything.